Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency with your host, Terry Harrington.
Welcome to Dateline Schools. Well, we've made it to the month when nearly 2,000 local students close the books on their K-12 education and enter a whole new world. For many of them, they'll begin a new round of education either through college or through a trade school. And part of that success will depend on them winning scholarships. So on this edition of Dateline Schools, we're going to talk with the local scholarship winner from Port Huron High School, Henry Herber, as well as Cathy Busdicker, the parent liaison for the local KnowHow2Go initiative. But before we begin our conversation, let's tune in to this education update.
Well, summer is right around the corner, and while many students are glad to have a breather from their day-to-day classes, many parents are looking for that one certain activity that will keep their students entertained, but keep their minds working as well. To accommodate these folks, Tech has announced their summer technology program for students in grades 6th through 9th. The camp's designated to teach kids about technology by having them build robots. Camps will be held July 16th through the 20th for 6th and 7th graders, July 23rd and 27th for 7th and 8th graders, and July 23rd and 27th for 8th and 9th graders. Each camp will be from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. each weekday. Cost for the camp is $150, which includes lunch. St. Clair's Riverview East is on the move. The Riverview East High School program is moving from its current location in the St. Clair Middle School to a redesignated wing of the Marine City Middle School. A wall will be erected between the east wing, where Riverview will be located, and the rest of the school. The new Riverview wing will have its own entrance to the building, along with the refurbished class spaces. Riverview East students will also start classes before middle school students arrive. Dust off those old family photo books, for history is coming alive with a new video presentation by St. Clair County RESA. Moment in History is a half-hour video series that takes a look at the people, places, and events that helped make the Blue Water area what it is today. In May, the public got to see 2 video trailers for the series. The first, The Railroads in St. Clair County, and a future episode which takes a look at the Hotel Harrington. Moment in History is available on RESA TV. Find it at RESA website, SCCRESA.org. In Woodland news, Julie McRuey and the rest of the Woodland Parent Teacher Organization wish to thank the family of one of their students, Nolan. Memorial donations were made to Woodlands upon the passing of Nolan's grandmother, Sarah McCoy. Her family and friends have given Woodlands more than $1,200. And finally, Woodlands transportation people would like to remind parents that when dropping off or picking up their children, they should avoid walking between the buses. It's safer for everyone if parents use the crosswalks to enter the building. For Ed Update, I'm Chris Troy. Now back to you, Terry.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
For many students who've graduated this month and they're wanting to go on to the next level, the only way they can do that is through college scholarships. So on this segment of Dateline Schools, we're going to learn what it takes to get these college scholarships, and who better to learn from than one of the biggest scholarship winners to come out of Port Huron High School this school year. Joining me on the program is Henry Herber, and also joining us from the KnowHow2Go initiative is Cathy Busdicker. And Henry, first of all, congratulations on graduating, and then congratulations on winning these honors this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Andrew, what are your plans for next school year?
Well, I plan on to go to Spring Arbor University, which is near Jackson, Michigan. I'm going to major in business administration, and I'm also going to double major into music, as I play the trumpet at the Portland High School Marching Band.
So why Spring Arbor?
It's just a good school. Out of the 3 schools in Michigan that have a stellar business program, they're one of them. It's a private school, and it's also a Christian school, which is my background.
Good. So what do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
I would like to own a business or maybe work my way up in a business and just be able to help my employees and stuff.
Okay.
So.
Think music will be along the way too?
Yeah, possibly. I'm hoping that's going to be a good fallback. So.
Okay, great. and something to do just on your spare time or in church or whatever you like to do, right?
Yep, as a hobby.
Great. Now, as we introduced you, you're one of the bigger scholarship winners coming up before you're in high school. Tell us what you've won in terms of scholarships this year.
Well, I actually have a pretty long list. I have the Presidential Scholarship from Spring Arbor University. That's for $10,000. I have the Coca-Cola Scholarship, which is for $10,000, and that's a nationwide scholarship. I also have the Kiwanis Spiritual Life Scholarship. That was for $750. The Kiwanis Community Service Scholarship, which I actually just found out about last week, for $750. The Community Foundation Beth Linshield Scholarship for $2,500. And the Corps Cadet Scholarship from the Salvation Army, $4,000.
So you really got a mix of some national and state and local type of things too, don't you?
Yes.
That's kind of unusual, isn't it, for most kids?
Yeah, a lot of kids just apply locally and yeah, so.
Well, tell us about this Coca-Cola Scholarship. I'm kind of fascinated about that one. And I see you're wearing the shirt to kind of show us that too.
I sure am. The Coca-Cola Scholarship, 84,000 kids tried to apply. Out of that, they picked 2,200 kids nationwide. And those kids became semifinalists. And then you had to fill out a packet that was about 30 pages long or so. You had to do 5 more essay questions on top of the 5 that you did to become a semifinalist. And then you had to send it to them and whatnot. And then from those 2,200 kids, they picked 250 kids to become finalists, and that's nationwide. So it was just a big endeavor that it was just awesome because you know that out of 84,000 kids, they picked you. So, but, and I found out through my local college advisor at the Portland High School, Miss Hensley, and she's been just a great help this year. Every single scholarship that comes in, she just tells me about it and I just fill it out. So.
Now, when you got that initial packet and looked at that, you said it was about yay thick.
Yeah.
What did you think? Did you think you even had a shot at getting something like that?
Well, up to that point, I had been filling out a couple here and there as far as scholarships come. I wasn't doing every single one based on the length. And that one, I didn't really think I'd have a chance for it just by looking at the packet. And like you had to be so involved with your community and just all these extracurricular stuff. I looked at it and I guess for some reason or another, I decided to fill it out. And I'm thankful that I did. So,
what were some of the essay questions? You don't mind kind of sharing that a little bit?
Well, the first 5, a couple of them were like community volunteerism, like what do you do and like what's the biggest group that you participate with. Then there was other ones like where do you see yourself in the future and like what's your main goal in your life, and just questions like that.
Okay, so how did you respond to that? What are your main goals in life?
Well, I just said like I want to help other people, I want to make a difference and not just go through life and not really have a plan. So. And that's just me in general. I'm very organized with things, and I like to plan ahead. So that's one thing I would like to put onto my employees is to plan ahead.
Great.
So
also, what kind of strategy do you use in your scholarship shirts?
Well, Miss Hensley finds a lot of them for me, and so she would pick them out, make a copy of them, and then just find me throughout the school day and just give them to me. But up to the point where I got the Coca-Cola Scholarship, like I said, I had been very sparse in like what I was filling out and that kind of stuff. But after I had received notice that I was a finalist, I started filling out every single one that I could find and just mad dashing for it. So yeah, that's one big thing I would tell other people is to just make sure that you find the scholarships and just do every single one, because it totally just increases your odds of getting them.
Well, Henry, I guess I have a question. Like, I think a lot of students think that if they haven't been in something specific or particular, which is also a good thing to do. Whether that is like really going for a music scholarship or a science-based scholarship or something, Boy Scout scholarship, that maybe they haven't done enough to prepare since the end of 8th grade. But you sound like you were that general, well-rounded student in school. So that's what I find interesting about this Coca-Cola scholarship is you looked at it and somehow you felt like you might fit that criteria just enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I didn't fill out every single box when it came to volunteering or that kind of stuff for the Coca-Cola scholarship, because there was just pages upon pages that you could list stuff that you did. I maybe had 1 or 2 things that I did, and I do volunteer a lot, but I think they were just looking for someone who is well-rounded. So that's a really good thing to be after 8th grade, is to just get involved and do things that you want to do. Don't let your peers pressure you into, oh, that's dumb or whatever. Like, I'm a coin collector. I build models. I do all kinds of just random stuff that I like to do. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's great. I think that one thing that Henry's saying that we do try to talk about in KnowHow2Go is that your college application really begins the summer after 8th grade. And so you were able to reach all the way back to your careers and hobbies and things that you did way back almost 4 years.
Oh, yeah. And that's a big thing. With any scholarship, they want to know what you've done after 8th grade. So, I mean, even starting like a log of what you volunteered with would be really helpful to do.
Great. It's great advice.
Yeah.
Now, Cathy, you work with a lot of students around the county through the KnowHow2Go. Do most of them behave like what Henry's done, or they're not way out?
The vast majority of our students in St. Clair County are just like Henry. Yes, well, I think there are a certain number of kids that do, but I think that there are more opportunities and more scholarships out there for our students than our students think. I don't think they give themselves enough credit for what they've done, and that they really are the kind of great kid that scholarships are looking to give money to support them on their path in and through college. So I just think it's that confidence so it's so important to have Henry here. It's just a neat kid that went above and beyond, and of course he's a great, exceptional student, but we have lots and lots of exceptional students. So I think, we all feel that we'd like our kids to push a little bit harder to look for these scholarships. So I think that it's very much the responsibility of the student to dig these out. You were lucky, Henry, that you had a college access coordinator that brought this to you. Sometimes counselors in the different high schools will be able to do that. And also parents that are helping students or guardians that can kind of see scholarship opportunities for their students should definitely take the initiative to show this to the student. And then, the student has to do their own work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you have to do all your own pulling it together, your own essays and things like that. But it sure is nice to get help and little push from adults.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Henry, what kind of role did your parents play in all of this?
Their biggest role was reading the essays, because I am horrible at English. I might speak well, but my writing is like 5th grade level, like it's bad. But like when it comes to essays and stuff, I think that's the biggest thing that students get down on is like, oh, I got to write an essay. I have other work I got to do. I don't want to do an essay for a scholarship that I could not win.
Right.
But it really pays off, because if you spend an hour writing an essay, you could win $500, $700, $2,500. I mean, you're not going to get a job that pays that much nowadays, and for just that little amount of time. And my parents, they're average parents. I don't come from like a rich family or anyone who's even went to college per se. My grandmother actually just finished up college over at SC4, and she's like 60 years old. So I'll be the first one in my family to actually go to college. So they just really supported me in everything that I've done, and I think they're just really proud of me. So
that's great. Now, not only you got the national, you've got several local. Was that a lot of work to work on, like the Kiwanis ones and some of those other local ones you received too?
The local ones were actually a lot easier than the national ones. You still did have to do the same amount of stuff, but the essays were a lot less in detail, which really made it nice. So,
Cathy, what are some sources that kids could go to and their parents even to get to find out some of these local and even some of the national ones like the Coca-Cola Scholarship?
We do have good resources. First of all, I want to kind of go back to the math that Henry was talking about. If you figure that it's just a $250 scholarship or it's just a $500 scholarship, that's $250 that will otherwise come out of mom and dad's pocket possibly, or you'll take out in student loans. So if you do the math on the number of hours that it takes for you to prepare to take that chance that you might get that pays off pretty well. So what we have as far as local access is, I think the best place for a student to go is to their counseling office in their high school. That's really good. Our community foundation has a lot of local scholarships to them. Also, where students' parents work, we'll often do matching scholarships or be particularly interested in students that way. If you go to also our KnowHow2Go website, which you can get to through St. Clair County RESA, click on KnowHow2Go, look at scholarships, and just look at that wide variety. But you're right, you have to kind of play it all at the same time.
Yeah.
So you might be looking at a Best Buy scholarship, a Target scholarship, a Macy's scholarship, a Got Milk, a Coca-Cola.
Yep.
And at the same time, you're looking at, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so from the Community Foundation. So, yeah, you have to look far and wide, but it certainly can pay off.
Henry, what kind of strategy did you use? Did you kind of think that way, or?
I just kept myself organized. And like I said, after the Coca-Cola one, I filled out every single one. So I would just come in every morning and just be like, hey, what's new? Give it to me. Let's go. That kind of thing. So I just filled out every single one, managed my time well. I would do homework or play a video game for minimal amount of time and just work on these scholarships for the most amount of time that I could. And that just really paid off. So, I mean, I've gotten $25,000 in scholarships so far, and I've only put maybe 40 hours of work into it over the entire school year.
Wow.
So it's not that much time when you look at it.
Now, if I could find a return on my investment like that, that'd be great. Kathy, do you find that just getting started is the biggest struggle for most kids?
Sure, I think it's that little bit of confidence, and that's why it is nice to go into your counselor's office and talk to them. And I think the other thing that's important is that students get to know their counselors kind of when they're underclassmen. It doesn't mean that an 11th grader going into 12th grade right now shouldn't figure this out at the beginning, the end of this year, and into the middle of next year. But then they're looking out for you, and they realize that you're interested in this. So, yeah, I think that they just need to jump in and give it a try. But I think what Henry said too, along with college applications, you need to put out a perfect scholarship application. That kind of works into what we're going to do next September. We'll have hired in our essay coach from Ann Arbor. It'll be her 5th year coming in. She works with students for their college application essays, but students that are maybe going to the community college or someplace that don't need essays, they can use that time to do scholarship essays also. So did you start to look at scholarships before your senior year at all? I know some kids do, but that's a real aggressive kid that does that.
Yeah, it's really hard to apply because a lot of them you have to be a senior even to apply for. I started the beginning of my senior year. Like, I sent out my letter to my college about my acceptance and whatnot. That was done at the end of my junior year, so I don't even have to worry about that going into senior year.
Right.
So that was just my main goal my senior year, is to just get scholarships.
Well, like Henry's going to a private school, so the price tag on that private school is high, but probably because
You ain't kidding.
yeah.
$30,000 a year.
Yeah.
But probably because he has a good grade point average and he's a neat all-around kid, the school or the college or university itself will offer him money. So that's another huge resource, that the colleges that students are applying to and then eventually get accepted to, sometimes automatically with that college application process will put them up for scholarships. But if you're not sure, that's when you have to get on the line with admissions at the college. Yeah, tell me if I'm right on this.
Oh, yeah, totally.
At the admissions office and say, so am I in the running for these scholarships? Is there anything else I should do if I'm interested in getting scholarships that you have through your college?
A lot of stuff's online too. Like, I found out a ton of information on my college online, and I actually found that out my junior year. And then you start working towards getting those scholarships, because I used to not be the top 10% of my class. I was the top 12th or whatever. But then finding out that I could get $10,000 instead of $7,500 by just getting up 2% more, I mean, it's a big difference. So
really, I mean, everything you do in school, right from getting there on the first day of class till the time you graduate, really has an impact on not only your scholarship opportunities, but your learning opportunities too.
Oh yeah, you got to take advantage of every single moment in high school, whether that's having fun or when it comes to your GPA. I mean, you definitely got to be there and be clocked in to get the scholarships and to try to be successful when going to college.
I know one thing that we say to the kids when we do our KnowHow2Go presentations, whether it's parents, kids in college, or college survival kits, is in high school, be nice. Be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the beginning kind of your adult life. And if you want people to respond nicely to you and give you nice letters of recommendations, then you have to be a good civil person and a helping part of that community.
Oh, yeah.
Now, a lot of these scholarships we talk about are for kids right out of the gate as freshmen. Will these continue for you as well, or how does that part work?
There are a lot of scholarships that are available to me as a college freshman, but most of my scholarships will carry over as like 4-year scholarships or whatever. So
Do you have to keep a certain grade point average for some of these?
yeah, the Spring Arbor one that I got for $10,000, I have to keep a 3.5 GPA.
Okay.
So there is no room to slack around or sleep in some days. So, but definitely worth it.
But you think over the course of 4 years, that's $40,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, do that. Henry, too, what advice do you have for students right now? Especially maybe some 8th grader, 9th grader sitting here, maybe even some of your band members from 11th grade are sitting here watching this. What advice do you have for them at this point?
I would say just to start now. No matter where you're at, just start now with whatever you need to get done in order to get your scholarships, and just get prepared to start that whole process. As like a freshman, I would start volunteering and just getting out in the community and just doing things, not for yourself, but just for other people. Because you can write those down when you're a senior applying for these scholarships and say, hey, I helped at a soup kitchen, I did food bags, just all the stuff that you could just write down, which really helps when it comes to filling out scholarships. When you're like a sophomore or a junior, start thinking about colleges, like where you're going to go, what you want to do, that kind of thing. And when you're a senior, just start applying for every single thing that you can. So, because it'll increase your odds and it'll definitely pay off.
I know we talked a lot about scholarships, but one word you keep mentioning, you've mentioned it several times in the program, is volunteering, doing things for others. What were some of the things that you did that maybe helped put you above the rest?
Well, like I said, I volunteer a lot, about 500 hours a year or so, which really isn't a lot when you think about it. It's about 3 or 4 weeks out of the year. But I do food bags over the Salvation Army. I would just help with Woodrow Wilson's PTA. I would help do that all night long, and I've done that for 4 years. The food and toy distribution with the Salvation Army, every Christmas time I'm out there either sorting food or helping families shop for toys. I do all kinds of things. I march in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, play my instrument, that's all volunteer. There's just all kinds of things that you can do.
Don't you think it's important, too, that kids really think about what they could do that's for volunteering that's fun for them?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, something that they're good at. If they're a Boy Scout and they're good at something like that, then encourage maybe other Boy Scouts. It doesn't need to be difficult. Volunteering should be like a really great fit, right?
Yeah, it should be something you love to do. Don't be like, oh, I got to go volunteer. I got to waste my time. No, like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, of course. But, like, find something you love to do, whether it's cutting somebody's grass for free. Like, it's something easy, and it's not hard at all. Yeah, like, just all kinds of stuff that you can do for fun. I mean, I teach kids over the Salvation Army through a ranger program, which is like Boy Scouts. And I find it just enjoyable to know that I'm helping middle school boys that other people don't really want to help just learn and get life skills. I mean, it's so much fun.
I think if parents and students are interested in this now and they're younger or they're ready to get into their senior year, scholarships, big scholarships, especially the kind that you looked at and the others that we've mentioned so far, they don't change that much from year to year. They don't change that much. Now, it might be they'll tweak the questions a little bit, but basically they're looking for pretty much the same criteria. So there's no reason that a family or a student or something couldn't look at the basic applications now and what they're looking for in a student, just so you know you're kind of filling in the blanks or beginning to keep your information gathered in one spot.
Oh, yeah, totally. A lot of the scholarships are online. Like, you can go type in Coca-Cola Scholarship and bring up what I had to fill out, basically. I don't know if it's this year's, it's probably last year's, but you can look it up. So.
And don't let that be a daunting task, right? Just keep the end in mind. Is that how you kept going and kept yourself motivated?
Yep, just do a little bit each day.
Now, Cathy, I know you've given us a lot of sources, too. Can you kind of repeat those for us as where parents and kids can go?
For parents and students, I think your first and best resource is your high school counselor. They will have lists. And the other little tip that I've given is that I think that students and parents should look at each other high schools' counseling profiles and then go to their scholarships for different high schools. Many of our high schools, it maybe say in St. Clair County, will have a scholarship listed that another high school doesn't think of or whatever. Even if it is a county scholarship, maybe reach over and see how those other lists are showing. So that's one kind of tip that I think is good. And then you can go to big sources like finaid.org. They're okay, but the whole nation is looking at those sites. So you're going to have better percentages looking at your local scholarships. But I think what's really most interesting to me and exciting about what you've done, Henry, is that those big scholarships are out there, and I listed a couple of them that I'm just familiar with. There's the Coke and the Target and the Best Buy and the Got Milk, and I think sometimes kids just think that must be for those other kids someplace else. Not necessarily.
Nope.
So great. Well, I just want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. Cathy Busdicker, it's always a pleasure to have you with
Thank
the
you.
whole KnowHow2Go thing. And the
Thanks.
web address again for KnowHow2Go?
I direct people right to St. Clair County RESA. When you pull up the RESA website, on the right-hand side, there's an orange bar, and you click on that, and it'll get you right to our website. We have a Facebook. We would love to have email accounts if people want to write to us. And then we'll get you the information out via email for these upcoming events in the fall, like essay writing, which would then apply to college scholarships.
And Henry Herbert from the class of 2012 at Port Huron High School, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best. Well, again, I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. Hope to see you again soon.